Welcome once again to The Sage. What a pleasure. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for all the years you've been with us. But we're excited about today, about this episode. It's an episode, a series that we consider to be of extreme importance. We've worked for weeks on it. We've put everything we think we have into it because we think it is a topic that is desperately needed by our world at this time. We talk of nothing less than the concept of peace. Peace in our world. Peace in our country. Peace for all of us. And so this is the beginning of a series that will dwell on the critical topic of peace, and we've called it the pathways to peace. In a world more connected than ever before, peace remains one of humanity's greatest challenges. From global conflicts and political tensions to inequality, fear, and division, the need for peace has never been more urgent. But peace is more than the absence of war. It is the presence of justice, of understanding, of opportunity, and of human dignity itself. It begins in our choices, in our communities, and our willingness to see one another not as enemies, but as fellow human beings. And as we continue this journey of exploration, discussion, and reflection on this age, we will dwell more deeply on what peace truly means. Its many dimensions, its different levels, and what each of us must do to help build peace. Peace in our personal lives, peace in our homes, peace within our families, peace within our communities, within our countries, and indeed within our world. It's never been more needed. Because peace is not something we simply wait for to happen. No. It is something we build. And we must build it together. And so, our dear viewers, welcome to our series on the pathways to peace. And to discuss this crucial topic, we are extremely privileged to have on set with us today a guest like no other. A young man, for me, he's a young man, who qualifies to also share the thoughts and reflections on peace in every way you can imagine. I talk of no other than somebody who is already a household name to many of you, of Mr. Dike Chukwumerije.
Thank you so much.
Renowned. When I want to make sure I get your various titles right, I will read briefly from a script. Dike Chukwumerije is a performance poet, spoken word theatre practitioner, author, and cultural administrator. He was a program director at the Abuja Literary Society, but he is today the executive director of the Simply Poetry Foundation, which he founded to promote art for social change. And I can say with confidence, largely also for peace. Dike, welcome to the set.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Well, let me say that I have read what is your formal description. But for me particularly, as the sage, immediately I thought of this and the need to discuss, reflect, and act over our urgent need for peace. I just said to myself, I hope I can get Dike to come sit on set with me and discuss, for many reasons. Dike is not a guest on The Sage. You've appeared several times for many discussions. But I particularly wanted you for this because unlike many of our viewers, I know you way back from when you were little. And I've watched you grow into the fine young person you are. If every Nigerian young person was like you, oh goodness me, we will be way up on the way to heaven in terms of a country. I don't want to embarrass you, but you are imbued with what I think is empathy, huge national conscience, huge love for country, patriotism, and unrelenting determination to continue to do your bit, to say your bit, so that this country can be a better one, so that young people everywhere would have the opportunity to be the best they can. Thank you for what you are. Thank you for all the people that helped you be what you are and to continue to be what you are.
Thank you so much.
But most of all, thank you for being on set with us.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor. It's always difficult listening to these intros. You wonder who is being spoken about. But it's always an honor to be here. These are the issues and topics that are close to my heart, and it's always a pleasure to discuss them with someone that shares the same values.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And so largely, I have said my piece at the beginning, but I'm going to let you do the talk to a large extent and say yes, as the sage, as Conversations for Change and what we feel for the world, we have described our concept of peace. But for you, what is it? What is peace and what is the importance of peace? Do you believe, as we have said, that it occurs at various levels and that all of them need to be addressed?
Absolutely. I see peace as, on one level, not an absence of difference, but a willingness to share, an acceptance of the rights of everybody else to be in that space, an awareness that everybody has a right to be here, and that these resources, this space needs to be shared. Just accepting that as a fact, I think, for me, is the fundamental foundation for peace. And it has to exist on every level. On a personal level, to experience peace, you have to accept yourself, your flaws, your weaknesses, your idiosyncrasies. Stop wanting to be somebody else or be somewhere else, and just accept that you are who you are and you are where you are, and that's okay.
That you were built good.
Yeah, that you have everything you need to be everything you should be. If you have sort of that attitude, you have a greater chance of being at peace with yourself. And if on a societal level, you're able to look across at the other and accept that they have the same rights to be here. The lion, the lamb, the iroko, the thorn bush, the Igbo, the Fulani, the Christian, the Muslim, they all have a right to be here. My right to be here is not more than your right to be here. And so this obsession some people have with trying to eliminate the other or exclude the other or push the other to the margin, it begins to erode because you realize that in a sense is futile. And that's what history shows largely, that you can't eliminate diversity. It just comes back. It's like weed, if you want to look at it that sense. No matter how violently, how drastically, what measures you go to try and harmonize or homogenize society, after a while, it could be 50 years, it could be 100 years. You turn around and it's as if
nothing was removed.
Nothing was removed. Everything just springs back because it's the way God wanted. If He wanted a homogeneous world, He would have created a homogeneous world. He created a diverse one for a reason. And I think that reason is also good for our own personal development and growth. That contending with diversity helps you grow as a person. That's one of the reasons why it's there.
Our strength,
yeah,
is in being diverse. Collectively,
I think it's essential to our own individual growth. I always think of, because it's one of those stories in the Christian Bible that can seem strange, the Tower of Babel. Everybody speaking one language, and for some reason God is not happy with that and introduces diversity. And it sort of hints at the fact that diversity is important to human growth and development. That when people are the same, they start embarking on projects that are not useful to their growth. And there's a similar passage in the Quran that talks about how God intentionally created diversity for us so that we can grow. By getting to know one another, we grow. So for me, it's also a spiritual thing that it's good for you. It's good for you to, as a Southern Christian Igbo guy, it's good for me to learn about a Northern Muslim. That process of engaging and finally discovering that the same humanity I have, that person has it, that journey is going to cause me to evolve and to grow. And it's one of the things that keeps me on my path, even if it looks as if nobody is listening to you. Because fundamentally, I'm also doing it for myself. I believe that by engaging in this advocacy, I am growing. Whether my society wants to hear, wants to listen, wants to come along is a different thing. But personally, one of the best things I've done for myself was 7-8 years ago as a poet based here in Abuja. And I thought to myself, Nigeria is bigger than Abuja. It's the way Chinua Achebe said that if you really want to enjoy a masquerade, you can't stand in one place. You have to be moving so you can see it from different angles. And Nigeria is like a big masquerade. You can't stay in Abuja or in Enugu or Kano and really enjoy it. And so unprompted, without help, I started taking my production around the country. Currently, we've been to 21 states. And, audiences all over the country have enjoyed, and it's the same message. The message of unity, the message of tolerance, But aside from what the audience experiences, the greatest beneficiary of that journey has been me. Because I've had the privilege of seeing that the same joke that causes people to laugh in Lagos causes them to laugh in Enugu. The same places where people applaud in Enugu, they applaud in Kano. The same places where they gasp and show empathy in Taraba, they are showing empathy in Port Harcourt. And so the idea, the argument that we are so different, we can't get along, I've come to realize for myself that that is the argument that is artificial and fake and not grounded in reality. And the reality is that subliminally, at our deep subconscious level, we are the same.
Hold that. That is such a profound statement. But let me sort of recap what I thought was so important in the things. First of all, that diversity is actually a natural attribute, a God-given attribute to the world. People are different. Situations are different. And therefore, if we had more wisdom, we would realize that the progress of the world and collective understanding and living on with this diversity is actually the way forward. I think in a way, I'm saying in some what you have said. But it's also beautiful for you to also assert that as you do this, as you do that extra bit to live happily and together in a diverse world, you actually improve and increase yourself as a human being. You learn so many lessons from it. That's what you're saying. You find that people may be different by, certain characteristics, but fundamentally, the same things are important to all of us. And that we grow spiritually and physically by learning to live well in diversity. Am I correct?
You are very correct.
Yeah.
You increase, it increases you. It's definitely increased me. I don't have those. I'll share a personal experience. I was a couple of years ago. I was taking my child to the hospital, and I was coming out, and it was the time for prayers and Muslim prayers, and I heard the call for prayer. And for the first time in my life, it sounded so beautiful. It didn't evoke the fear, the unease, the tension that as a Southern Christian I had been oriented to grow up with, because you're associated with violence or terrorism or this or that. For the first time, it just sounded so beautiful. And I understood that that was my own evolution. That's the result of me opening, listening, going, talking, interacting, seeing the beauty, the humanity in other people, looking beyond the hijab, looking beyond the tribal marks, looking beyond the accent, and understanding that a human being who is longing for the Almighty, it's always a beautiful thing, no matter the language, no matter the expression.
Precisely, no matter the religion.
No matter the religion.
It doesn't matter. It's the innate longing.
Absolutely.
I think it was one of the saints that talked about that longing in all of us.
Yeah.
And that longing is never satisfied.
It's never.
Because it's longing for the Almighty.
Absolutely. The recognition that we are not enough. There is more. I think it's a very important thing for the world today, because a lot of the crisis we face today is from the arrogant will of man believing that you can bend everything to your will. The unwillingness to accept that some things are meant to be. There is a natural law, there is a natural way. There is objective truth. Everything is not dependent on your perspective and how you see things. I think when you start accepting that there is something bigger than us and you're able to submit to it, there's a way it moderates how you act. There's a way it allows you to also let things be. But here we are living in a time where those who have power want to interrupt everything, want to impose on everything, want to change everything. And I think that ultimately that effort, which is the spirit of man, at some point you will encounter there is a limit. We are not infinite, we are not eternal, we don't go on forever, we don't know everything. No matter what scientific or technological tools we have. It's always amazing to me that the more scientifically advanced we get, the more we seem to regress in terms of our values and our character.
And violent. let me again agree with you and say that perhaps no other time than now is that so obvious. The fact that the few, relatively few, phenomenally rich and powerful people, they're never satisfied. They continue to want to consume the world. And if you look back, that is the problem at every level. Absolutely. It is part of the reason for the global crisis.
Absolutely.
It is the reason for many of the problems in our country. And if you look at your communities and perhaps your families, you will find that it is those who keep wanting to assert authority that cause a lot of the problem.
You want everything. You're not satisfied with what you have, where you are. You're not willing to share your space. I was reflecting on that concept of wealth and who is a wealthy person, who is a rich person. And for me, the conclusion I came to is that a rich person is somebody that has no wants.
No wants, absolutely. Who is content, who has learned contentment.
As long as you have these violent wants, it doesn't matter how much money or resources you have, you're poor. But the moment you have no wants, I remember there's this Greek proverb, I can't remember the philosopher, who had rejected wealth and corruption and didn't want anything to do with the politicians. And then the emperor came to see him where he was sitting under a tree somewhere and said, "This man, you're so stubborn. Why don't you come and work for me? What do you want? I'll give you anything you want." And the man said, "Anything I want is for you to step out of my sun. You're blocking."
For you to get out of the way, so I can see the sun better.
I'm blocking the sun. Because, and for a country like Nigeria, we're dealing with a dysfunctional system, and we need to change it. But the first thing about changing the system is getting to a place where the system can change you.
Of dreams we left behind, building walls between us in the corners of our minds. We've lost the love we're owed, the kindness we've misplaced, but the hope is in our hands to rewrite this broken space. So lift the veil and clear the smoke. The cracks will mend where hearts are broke. We're stronger when we reach across. No more sinking in the loss. The light ahead, it's not too far. If we become the change we are, look beyond the shadows cast. We'll build a future made to last. If we become the change we are. The land our fathers saved is being sold off piece by piece. Leaders count their riches while the hunger never sleeps. The dreams they promised us have faded in their lives, but the power's in our hearts to reclaim what's been denied. So lift the veil and clear the smoke. The cracks will mend where hearts are broke. We're stronger when we reach across. No more sinking in the loss. The light ahead, it's not too far. If we become the change we are. Look beyond the shadows cast. Let's build a future made to last. If we become the change we are. Become the change we are. Oh, the light ahead, it's not too far. If we become the change we are. Oh, so lift the veil and clear the smoke. The cracks will mend, we're hearts are broke. We're stronger when we reach across. No more sinking in the lost. The light ahead, it's not too far. If we become the change we are. Look beyond the shadows cast. We'll build a future made to last.